Hello.
Hi Noor, how are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good too. So how have you been?
I've been quite
How
well,
are things going?
busy
Mm-hmm.
in lockdown, but enjoying
Yeah,
everything.
okay. You are enjoying lockdown?
Well, I'm not enjoying lockdown. I'm enjoying being busy. And I think people who are working
Yeah,
in digital space are busier than they have been before. So,
yeah, sure. And we have read a lot about you.
oh, that's so.
And I want to tell you that at Brandburp we are celebrating Women's Week, and you are our second guest. So most welcome.
Thank you so much. It's my honor and pleasure.
And my all the content writers team is here
Oh, great.
majorly, and there are other members as well. So we are here to learn a lot from you this time
I hope I can.
about your journey, your challenges, being a blogger, and means transforming from a lawyer to blogger, and being a mother too.
Yes, of course.
So can we start?
Yes, please. Let's start.
Yeah. So tell us about your lawyer to blogger journey.
So, I mean, I think you already mentioned it in the sense that it was because I became a mother. That was the
Yeah.
catalyst.
Yeah.
So, I practiced at the Delhi High Court for about
Mm-hmm.
and a half odd years.
Okay.
I was working with a senior advocate who then became the additional solicitor general. We were representing the government. And so it was a pretty high
Mm-hmm.
job to have. And then
Okay.
I became pregnant and I worked through nine
Okay.
months of my pregnancy. I was going to court till the last day
Oh.
and I enjoyed it, but it was a very stressful job, and
Yeah.
only, I mean, one is the long hours. It was like 12
Mm-hmm.
hours a day was least amount of time that you had to.
Yeah.
It was also extremely stressful just mentally because you were
Yeah.
taking on the stresses of the clients that you're getting as well. So after my baby was born, obviously I got 6 months maternity leave, which everybody
Yeah.
gets.
Yeah.
Then in
Mm-hmm.
that time period, I just realized that perhaps I'm not quite ready to go back to law because I didn't want to be in a stressful situation, and bring all that stress
Okay.
home to my baby. But I was
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah. Yeah.
at home and doing nothing and getting bored. And so I wanted to do
Yeah.
something. And I actually, first, how it happened, I reached out to a friend of mine who has an online fitness company and I asked him if he had some sort
Okay.
of a position for me. So he made me their
Mm-hmm.
social media manager. And I mean, at that point,
Okay.
thing had happened. I had not even started my blog. I had no idea about social media. He was just helping me out as a
Mm-hmm.
friend. But I learned a lot in that position. And then, of course, I branched out on my own about, I would say, a year after my son was born. I started writing on my own blog. I created my own website. And then it was all from there.
So it was only after law that you decided to step into the blogging field.
Well, it's not quite like that. Actually, very honestly, I've always been a creative person. So back in
Mm-hmm.
college, I used to act, I used to write. And so I did also start an anonymous blog in 2007. I started
Okay.
a site where I started writing poetry and, little pieces
Okay.
of emotional writing. But I kept
Mm-hmm.
it anonymous. I didn't want people to know it
Okay.
was me. But I let it
Yeah.
go. Life gets in the way. I went abroad to study, and then there was no time. And I knew, okay, I'm becoming a lawyer, so that became my primary focus.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
when I was confused and when I wanted to do something that wasn't law, it became clear to me that
Mm-hmm.
writing was something I'd already always enjoyed doing. And a blog is
Yeah.
something that I can start on my own. I don't have to go to anybody. It's my own time, my own.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to start. And I think I was able to do that because I had already been introduced to it and known about it
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
whatever, 13 years ago.
And it seems that blogging is never ending.
Oh, of course. It'll never go. I mean, even though people are not reading as much, the fact is people need information in written form.
Yeah.
And that's why blogging will
Mm-hmm.
always survive, no matter what social media
Yeah.
keeps changing and bringing out for us. So it's very important to blog
So
as well.
Mm-hmm. So what is your favorite topic about when you start writing or something?
I love creative writing the most. Really enjoy
Mm-hmm.
writing fiction. I also enjoy writing poetry, though I don't think I'm as good at poetry as I am at fiction. But I also know that it's very
Okay.
difficult to break into this space, right? I mean, my
Yeah.
dream is to write and publish a novel, but
Okay.
it is a lot of work, and I'm a little bit scared that will, if I'll be able to do it or not. So if you ask what I write mostly on my blog, I don't write as much creative fiction as I would like to. I write
Okay.
mostly about things that before lockdown I used to write about what's happening around Delhi and travel and
Mm-hmm.
events I was going to, and I would review restaurants or products or anything. So it was a lifestyle, purely lifestyle blog. After lockdown, it's become more of a blogging focused blog. So now I'm writing
Mm-hmm.
how you can improve your blog and how you can do this to
Yeah.
this sort of a audience or connect to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I chose to write about. It just so happened because so many people kept asking me for help, and I figured, okay, I might
Yeah.
as well then put it all down in one place. So
Yeah.
it's
Even
taking
we are keen to know about all the facts, all the tips and tricks about blogging.
I'll help you as much as I can.
Thank you so much for that. And I have seen your Instagram handle, and you follow social media a lot. So what do you think that what roles the social media has to play in blogging or content writing?
So it's actually quite interesting. I consider them two separate things completely. I think blogging
Mm-hmm.
has its own place in the world, and social media content creation has its own place in the world. And though you can use social media effectively to promote your blog, perhaps it's
Yeah.
not the best long-term strategy, is what I've come to realize.
Okay.
So you have to decide where your focus lies. And I'll be quite honest with you, in the last 3 months, though I am continuing to write on my blog, my focus has changed to
Mm-hmm.
social media content creation because I'm
Yeah.
enjoying creating visual content more. Earlier, I never gave it a chance,
Mm-hmm.
thought about it. But now I'm at home, I have time, I have, this
Yeah.
creative ideas of making videos. So I'm changing strategy. Now, as for the
Yeah.
blog, if you want to promote your blog, your written blog, then you should find which platform has your most dedicated readership audience and you should use that platform most. So for me, for my written
Yeah.
blog, Facebook is the best platform. And the reason for
Okay.
that is because I promote the blog post in dedicated Facebook groups. So if I'm writing,
Okay.
for example, something related to parenting, I will put it on all these
Mm-hmm.
mommy Facebook groups where I know people,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's something that's of interest to them. And if I'm writing a
Mm-hmm.
blog about blogging, I'll put it on blogging Facebook groups where I know people will read.
Yeah.
It's like that. I can't promote my blogs on Instagram. I mean, I do. I put it on stories every time, but I don't do dedicated
Mm-hmm.
posts because I know that very few people will actually take the effort of going to read that.
Yeah.
Twitter is a
That's
really
true.
good place to promote your blogs.
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest is a fantastic place. If you are doing food blogs and travel blogs, certain kinds of categories, Pinterest
Yeah.
do very high traffic. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
the most important is email newsletters, because once you have a dedicated readership, it's very important that you keep honing that readership. You keep like nurturing.
Yeah.
So you keep
Mm-hmm.
out very nicely written, very personal
Yeah.
connect
Yeah. Yeah.
emails, and they will keep coming back to read more. So that's what I would say.
So you just talked about motherhood. So how do you manage like work and being a mother and obviously homemaker?
Well, I have to say I have a lot of help. So touch wood, off the bat, I'm
Okay.
not doing this all alone. I'm very
Okay.
blessed, and I hate to say this because I just worry that anyway. Getting back, my husband is an extremely hands-on man, and so then I can do some work in that time. And then I
Yeah.
see him in the other half when my husband goes to office. And if I have a
Mm-hmm.
meeting, like right now, I'm sitting here in the office downstairs to talk to you. My husband is with him right now. And of course, we do
Okay.
also have help. And we live with my in laws, so that also helps. At night, he's happy to sleep with his father sometimes, though, of course, he prefers to sleep with me. But yeah, so it can only work when there are more than one
Yeah.
person. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's very difficult.
That's right. That's right. So how did you handle the challenges or any criticism you get in the starting of this blogging career?
Gosh, there are lots of challenges, not just not just criticism. I think one
Mm-hmm.
of them, of course, is your own insecurities that you have to often
Yeah.
overcome, because when you're a creative person and you are sort of just doing it on your own. Firstly, there's
Mm-hmm.
not many people that will guide you correctly. People are
Yeah.
not on it. People are not forthcoming with their help and advice.
Mm-hmm.
End up making a lot of wrong decisions that will harm you more
Yeah.
than. And
Yeah.
you can do a lot of reading and research, but you never know what is right and what is not, because it's all trial.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
thing is you keep running after numbers. Oh my God, I've not got this number, I've not hit this number of followers, and I've not got this kind.
Yeah.
So those kind of insecurities will keep coming to you, but you've just got to
Yeah.
overcome them. Because if you feel that you're doing some great work and you're putting out good content,
Mm-hmm.
then that should be the driving force behind you creating. And don't think of
Mm-hmm.
numbers. I mean, no blogger is ever going to be happy with their numbers. Even if you have 100,000
Yeah.
followers, you will think that's still less. Oh, I need to get more. So it's never
Yeah.
good. And it's best, the one way that I overcome it is just to focus on the content that I'm creating, because that's what
Yeah.
gives me pleasure. I mean, TK,
Yeah.
nobody's watching my video, it's okay, I had fun making it. That's what matters. you know
Yeah.
so keep that, and of course the followers will come. If you are genuinely enjoying what you're doing, people will enjoy what
Yeah.
you do. That's the number one thing. And of course, then there are trolls, there are mean comments, there are people who will try to
Mm-hmm.
undercut you. But I mean, that's the case in any job, in any sphere of life.
Yeah.
As a lawyer, I got the same criticism. People will judge you. People will, I mean, just even for things like, why are you wearing makeup to court? Like, what is your problem?
Yeah.
Just people will judge you for anything and everything. You've just got to be prepared, and you've got to move on. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
who matters to you will stick with you, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just take criticism
I
in stride and keep doing what you love. Most importantly,
and I think these are some of the reasons why your website ranked 19th in the
yes,
feed score.
I think so, because there were two reasons. That ranking is based on the Alexa ranking. I don't know if you understand a lot of the rankings of websites. They're sort of compared to each other and ranked. So the higher your Alexa
Okay.
ranking, the higher you are ranked in the top lifestyle blog.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
There are two reasons that you get a high ranking. One is high quality content. Two is consistently
Mm-hmm.
uploading content. And if you're
Okay.
just about the blog, that is. So have always been really good about my uploading schedule. I've been blogging for 3 years now. I don't think there's been a single month where I have put less than 5 posts out in a month. And in many, many
Okay.
months, I put up to 20. So you can imagine, that's a
Okay.
lot. So at this point in 3 years, I think I have close to 350 blog posts on my website, which is
Mm-hmm.
a huge amount. And of course, now I'm trying to slow down a little bit because I'm trying to hone those, sort of rehash the ones
Yeah.
I haven't put them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is important when you're starting out to firstly create very high quality content. Second, to be consistent. And you must put out at least one a week.
Mm-hmm.
And best is to
Yeah.
put 2 a week, if you are really serious about making it big. And you will also climb the ranks. You will see it's not a magic
Yeah.
number. Just the work you put in, it'll happen.
Yeah.
So,
So when you talk about high quality, are you majorly talking about the vocabulary or these days we are following the bullet things, or means we are these days less focusing on paragraphs?
yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, like I've already said, nobody's reading content anymore. People are only glancing through content, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So listicles, which is the bullet things, yeah, that's the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to keep changing as per what your requirement is. So
Okay.
yes, I have also majorly changed the way I write my content. Of course, there are some things
Mm-hmm.
across the board that you have. High quality means
Yeah.
you write great vocabulary, great pictures, great placement of the content. Means there has to be a strong introduction, a very specific body, and a very specific conclusion.
Okay.
Because even if people don't read the body, they will definitely read the intro and they will read the conclusion. And you have to good visuals to grab their attention right from the start. If they see on a Facebook group, oh, there's a very pretty picture and there's a link attached to it, they're more likely to, than just anything. So your content is, as a whole, has many aspects to it. The vocabulary has to be good, because obviously people, if they like what they're reading, they will come back to read it again. And they also expect, there's so much information on the internet. People are now sort of sifting only by seeing who is sounding genuine and who sounds like they know how to write and who doesn't. But you also keep adapting to your readership. So initially when I began, I never used to do listicles. I used to do just free verse, mostly reviews. When I began, it was only reviews. In fact, reviews of movies, reviews of books, makeup products, whatever. But it was only reviews. And it was always free verse. Then I realized that perhaps I'm losing out. I would put pictures in the middle, but not break it up. Perhaps I'm losing out. And I started introducing subheadings. That helped. Subheadings helped. And I think since the last year or so, I've realized that the posts that do extremely well are the number posts, right? So 5 reasons to this, how to this, 7 ways to do this. Now, those are short ways of getting a click. And it's not clickbaity, because I do write 5 reasons and I do give 7 reasons and whatever. I just structure my post in a different way. So I know that even if people are not reading my content, they are definitely reading those subheadings. And that's where I put in pack the punch, So in fact, I'm not sure if you know this, but I'm also a features columnist for a national newspaper called the Daily Guardian. And there, they took me on to write. They contacted me and they took me on to write because they liked this format, of 5 reasons to, 6 reasons to. And so for them, I only do that kind of content. Once a week on a topic, I write a post and I send it to them. And that shows that even people who read newspapers, they're looking for that kind of content as well. So it's that things have changed. And you've got to keep reinventing yourself, of course.
Okay. So majorly it is about quality and not quantity, right?
Well, quantity also does matter, because it shouldn't be too less. You're right, quality any day. But that doesn't mean that, if you put out a great quality content, you can let it be for 6 months. No, because everybody will forget that. Even 1 month. You have to keep putting out good quality content. You can reduce the frequency, but you have to stay at it if you want to remain relevant.
Yeah. Okay. So, if you were not a blogger, what would you be?
Well, I'm a lawyer. So.
Okay.
No, I guess I mean, that was, sort of just a joke, but I'd always wanted to be in the media. That was my first choice. Law was not my first choice. So I'll put it that way. I was very keen to be either a journalist, or I hadn't decided what sphere or what angle I wanted to take. And at that time, quite strangely, as it happens, I went to Stephens and I had a degree in history honors. And after graduating, like every other student, my parents were like, okay, so what next? So I applied to like 5 different places, one of which was the Faculty of Law in Delhi University. And I applied to IIMS, which is the Media Studies School. But eventually I got into 2-3 of them, but the only degree was the law degree. The IIMS was a diploma. And so my father was like, you can always do this later, but it's nice to have a degree.
Yeah.
So I went into law, and that's how that path started. But ironically, it seems to have come back a full circle, and I'm doing media now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of journalist because I write a features column. I'm creating content here. I host a talk show for an organization called the Partition Archive. So it's come full circle. And I feel like if this is what I wanted to do, my life is now pushing me down that path.
Okay.
Blogging is just one aspect of content creation or media. I want a much larger media role, and I think being a journalist is the best way of putting it. So, yes.
Yeah. Like we always say that it starts with a one blog or it starts with just one. So, what was your favorite or the first blog or poetry or something?
Yeah, I saw this question that you sent and it got me thinking, and quite honestly, so I'll refer back to 2007 when I started my first blog and what had inspired
Okay.
me back then to start blogging. Back then, blogs were very different from what they are now. They were very
Okay.
rarely informational blogs. They were most
Mm-hmm.
personal diaries. And it
Okay.
was because people wanted to express their writing skills, but they were
Mm-hmm.
afraid and they didn't want to go down the
Yeah.
traditional publication route because
Yeah.
it's hard to get selected for writing books, right? So people would just start a website and start writing their feelings. So there was one blog called thecompulsiveconfessor.com, and I
Okay.
somehow came across it. I was say 20 years old at the time, and I became
Okay.
obsessed with reading. And she was this younger, I mean, I know her sort of. She's a Delhiite, and she would write about her life. And she changed her name on the blog, and she had changed her boyfriend's name on the blog. And she would write about her
Okay.
love life. She would write about her friends. She would write about how, Delhi can sometimes be a little bit toxic and fights and this
Mm-hmm.
and that. You know how it can be. And
Yeah.
it was just so addictive. It was like reading a novel, but like fresh novel every day, because she would put out
Yeah.
a diary entry every day. And it was so exciting. I was like, my God, this person is opening up the world, opening up to the world about her
Yeah.
feelings. And I think that's when I realized I can also do this. And so I started a blog. And
Okay.
another blog that I really, really enjoyed reading back then was something called High Heel Confidential, which is still a very successful blog.
Mm-hmm.
And there they
Okay.
take pictures of celebrities, Bollywood celebrities, wearing clothes, and they tell
Mm-hmm.
us what they're wearing, which designer they're wearing,
Okay.
what brand. And I just really enjoyed that whole fashion aspect of it. So I
Yeah.
remember thinking that, I was so addicted to these websites. I would keep going back every day and checking if there's a new post, that there is a potential for you to hook people
Okay.
through this
Yeah.
medium. And that's when I realized the power of blogging. And that's why I took
Mm-hmm.
it seriously. I mean, lots of people, even my parents would be like, what is the point of this? What are you writing this on the internet for? But I know that people do
Yeah.
like to read and people do like to, they trust my
Yeah.
opinion for a while, so they come back for more. So yes, it always takes that one thing. And for me, it was these two,
Yeah.
Compulsive Confessor and High Heel Confidential.
Okay. So this question made you recall all those lovely memories, right?
So thank you for that.
Uh, yeah. What do you think that something is annoying in content writing?
Well, there are a couple of things that are annoying. One is the editing. The editing
Yeah.
can be quite annoying, especially when you're trying to cut down a lot of huge content into something very small and readable. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the most annoying thing is the promotion part because
Yeah.
it's so consuming and it's so boring.
Yeah.
But you have to do it because if you don't promote your own work, nobody will come to read. So even
Yeah.
something as simple as drafting out that email newsletter, it's very time consuming, but you've got to
Yeah.
do it. And it's not the fun part. The fun part is the writing. The fun part is putting it all
Yeah.
together, your ideas down. But once that's done, it's like the real work begins. Okay, now compile it, now publish it, now post it here and post it there,
Yeah.
put it here. So yes, the editing and the promotion are quite annoying, but they've got to be done. Part of the show.
Yeah. They are part of the show, obviously. And you are presently freelancing. You are doing freelance projects and all that.
Yes.
So, how are you able to manage like multiple projects? Because not all topics are same. Sometimes we are not in our like mental stability. Sometimes our mind are at different state. So, how do you manage that?
Not easy. Sometimes I feel like I take on too many things, which I should
Yeah.
learn to start saying no. And unfortunately, that's a problem. But I am learning. I'm becoming better at it. But it is very
Mm-hmm.
difficult actually to multitask sometimes as a freelancer because half the things you take on because you want to, you're interested, there's
Yeah.
fun, and the other half you take on because they're paying you, even though you're not keen on it. And
Exactly.
so it's like then you've got to find the right balance. And what ends up happening sometimes, I do really wear myself thin. But the other, the other like pro point of being a freelancer is that it's not always the case. So, for example,
Yeah.
last week I was extremely busy with so many things, but this week I have less on my plate. So I'm like, okay, now I can relax
Okay.
a little bit. It's
Okay.
all part of it, and I think as I will grow in this profession, I learn how to streamline it better. So for example, I know certain deadlines, so I know that I have to submit my
Okay.
article to the newspaper every Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I have
Yeah.
my talk show every Sunday. So these 2 days are out. So I just let people know, okay,
Okay.
listen, I can only give you 5 days of the week now. And if I can do it in this
Okay.
time, I will. If I can't, then you've got to wait till next week. So, I mean, I'm learning how to prioritize my needs as well. But
Yeah.
it is a bit of a thin line, especially in the beginning. I mean, I won't say I'm in the beginning, but like I feel, people are now like starting to find out about me. So I'm getting a lot more opportunities than I was before. And
Yeah.
a lot of people then also think that because I'm relatively new to them, that I will do a lot of things for free. So it's like treading a fine line, trying to teach them that, listen, I'm
Yeah.
in a lot of work and I'm not going to do it for free. And if you obviously want to work with me for a reason because you like my work. So yeah, it's a balancing act. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
So, what do you do in your free time? Like, obviously not blogging.
Well,
Then what else do you do?
there's so much that actually is related to blogging that goes into even in my free time, because blogging, like I said, for me,
Okay.
there are two aspects: there's content creation and there's blogging. So
Yeah.
okay, apart from all of that, I watch a lot of TV and movies, and I read a
Okay.
lot of, but I do also review them. So that is also technically
Okay.
part of the blogging, but that is done for pleasure. So at night when I'm finally ready to go to bed and I want to unwind, I will read a mystery novel just before going to bed,
Okay.
like the one short way of, or watch a comedy TV show. So currently my husband and I
Okay.
are like re-binge watching The Office. We love it because it's just so funny and like
Okay.
you don't have to think. So yes, these kind of things. I also do really enjoy makeup and fashion. Like that's also the kind of content that I put on. So I do also keep up with that. I keep watching makeup videos or read fashion articles.
Yeah.
So that's also
Yeah, that your Instagram says well. That
yeah.
your Instagram says well.
So that's a,
About Rakhi, about Independence Day, I just saw your handle,
yes. Thank you.
Instagram handle.
Sweet.
Yeah. And you have got great hair, so you must be writing about how to get like heavy and glossy here.
That's so sweet.
So you
So
must be writing about that.
I've not written about it, but I have done a couple of videos on it. In fact, I have two very in-depth hair care videos. One is a homemade hair mask, which works wonders. And the second
Okay.
is my tips for hair care but I have to, give out the disclaimer. I'm a Sardarni, so it's also in my genes. Like my mother has
Yeah.
thick hair. You do have to take care of it. Like, you know, anything that you want to look beautiful or to nurture, you've got to take care of it. Whether it's
Yeah.
your skin or your weight or your hair, you've got to be mindful of what you're eating. You've got to, make sure that you're not using excessive products in your hair.
Yeah.
Try and get rid of the chemicals as much as possible. I don't color my hair. That helps a lot because I know that when you start putting
Okay.
chemicals like with color and stuff,
Chemicals, yeah.
it will
Mm-hmm.
obviously have a bad effect. So I just be, mindful of that. But if people are keen to see, they're on my IGTV feed, hair care videos part 1 and 2. They're a little bit niche.
Okay.
I'll share them with Brandburp later, and then you can share them with
After this video, I'm surely going to see that.
him. Thank you.
And one more thing that when you read others' blogs, like even if it is for reviewing or maybe learning from their mistakes, so what do you think that content writers or copywriters are lacking in the content thing?
Okay, that's a little difficult to answer because everybody's not the same. Like I can't have like a one-on-board answer. I will say that generally speaking, I feel Indian bloggers do not have a great catch on vocabulary and grammar.
Yeah.
That is something they are improving though, especially now that you have access
Mm-hmm.
to apps like Grammarly that will do editing for
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
So things are changing. when I started, there was a distinct, I just noticed that there are very few writers that write well in the blogging space in India, but it is changing. Some of the other things are, I think they sort of fall into a rut, like one type of a rut, So if they are considered mommy bloggers, they will each put out very similar sounding content on the same topics without giving perspective. And I feel like something like that should be avoided. I know it's not easy to come up with something new and unique time, but there's no reason for 10 mommy bloggers to write about one same baby wipe, like after all, we don't need that much. So I do feel that there is this tendency for Indian bloggers to follow, I won't say copy, but to follow a similar path, use their own words to follow a similar path, and they should stop that because it eventually will start harming them only, I feel.
Yeah.
My content is a little bit, it's not a niche based content because I use lifestyle because that's like very wide, but I consciously didn't follow one particular niche because I know that there is a tendency then to fall into a rut, and how much same kind of content can you actually produce? So I keep it a little bit diverse, I keep it unique, I add a little bit of my individuality into it, and that's how it is for me.
So when you get a topic, how do you start writing? Like first you write the title or the body, like how do you start?
So I mean, most of the time I choose my topics myself according to what I need to write on, right? But there are many times that I do get prompts because if I participate in a blog contest, for example, prompts are provided. Then I let the title sort of take over and I let it flow from me. I get inspired by the title and I never plan what I'm writing. I sit down, I have my laptop in front of me, I write the title down and then I just let it flow. And sometimes it can be a work of fiction. Sometimes it can be a poem for children. Sometimes it can be, some half verse, half prose. Sometimes it can be pointers. So for example, my latest post, which I've called Superheroes of Blogging. This is quite an interesting thing. So it was part of a blogging activity. A few friends of mine and I had given ourselves prompts and we had decided that we would write this topic. The topic was, if I wish for a superhero. And now obviously most people, and initially when I saw the topic, I thought I'll write a fictional work, because I thought that's a perfect topic for a fictional work. But then I decided, why don't I try to be a little creative and also help out my audience, asking me questions. And so I said, okay, let's call it Superheroes of Blogging and talk about the 5 things that a blogger must have in their kit if they are to succeed. And so that's what I did. So it added like a little pinch of individuality, but also like, gave it a useful angle. And this was not planned. This was literally that day I sat down. It was the last day to finish writing that post. And I was like, okay, let me do this. Just wrote it out. So I try not to plan my content unless, of course, it's a paid promotion. Then you are told to, okay, we need you to write it in this manner and it has to be. But I make it clear always that this is a paid promotion. And obviously I'm following guidelines. So,
So you write majorly about lifestyle blog. You do blogging, lifestyle blogging. So what do you think that how does it does blogging changes life? Like what changes does it bring to lives?
So it is a fabulous way of creative self-expression, the best possible way. I mean, obviously you can dance, you can draw, you can paint, you can do all of that. But it's very difficult for people who do all of these things to get an audience unless they have a good social media following. A blog, even if you don't have a good social media following, you're putting it out on the internet and anybody can find it, right? If they're looking for something of that topic, they will find it, they will read your work. And so it is a great way to express yourself creatively and be exposed to the entire world, show that piece of work to the entire world. So I would say everybody should try their hand at blogging. It doesn't have to be words because I know everybody doesn't like writing. You can do anything. You can put out a video on that blog. So even YouTube serves as a visual blog, right? And it's the same principle. You can put out a dance video and people will search for it and find it on YouTube. Instagram not the same, obviously. Instagram is a totally different platform. But yeah, it's a great way to express yourself creatively. And I'm so thankful that I have my blog. Even on days when I'm feeling low and I'm feeling like, what is the point of this? I know this is my baby. This is my second baby, which was born after my baby. So it'll always be there. I always have this to fall back on, and I will always protect it that way. And it's a great feeling to have my business also, my baby also, my little office space, my creative expression space. So all of that.
So you must be having a personal diary. Means I'm not getting personal, but I'm asking that your memories with your baby and all that special moments.
Yeah, actually, I have been a diary writer since I was 10 years old, and I've preserved all of these from then. But very strangely, and I don't know why this happened, around the time I started my blog 3 years ago, I somehow stopped writing a diary. I don't know why. Coincided. I think it was because I was putting so much effort into writing on this platform that I stopped writing the physical diary. So I have diaries of my son's first year of life, but after that, it's not much there. But of course, a lot of my personal life is also reflected in my pieces on my blog. Even if they're news, it comes out, today I wrote about Sundar Nursery, which is a beautiful garden in Delhi, and I'll talk about how I went there with my son. So it's like somewhere all of my pieces have a very personal connection. So yes, that is kind of my diary.
That's great. So you are putting really your individual thoughts in your writing, whatever you write.
Yes, always.
That's great.
Very important for anyone to do that.
So, blogging thing brings a major change in anyone's life, right?
Oh, yes. I mean, it depends on how seriously you take it. Maybe it won't bring it if you don't take it seriously. But if you are dedicated to being a blogger, to making your blog into sort of success, any manner of success, then you need to devote time to it. It's not, if you treat it like a hobby, it will not grow. I'm not saying you need to treat it like a business, but you do need to be serious about it and tell yourself that this is a hobby, but it's also work. And when you start treating it that way, you also start respecting the time and effort that you're putting in. Because a lot of time and effort will go into it. I mean, just writing a post can take anywhere from, it depends, right? If it's just a free verse, it can even be 30 minutes. But a dedicated post like a review can take you up to 3 to 4 hours to write. Then you have to edit, then you have to compile, then you have to promote. It's a lot of work. And I think people don't understand. People who are not bloggers, they don't understand the kind of work that goes into it. Editing pictures, editing the written content. If you're making videos, oh my God, that is so time consuming, editing videos. So just, if you are serious about it, you will start respecting yourself, respecting your work. And then you will be in a position to tell other brands and whoever wants to work with you to respect you as well. And that's really important. Once you can tell people, listen, I put in a lot of work and I'm not to be taken for granted, then you will definitely move ahead, I feel, in this sphere and any sphere of life, in fact.
So we have a question here. How can I start my own blog?
Okay.
Your thoughts, please.
Neha, it's very, very easy. In fact, I mean, before I even tell you the answer, let me tell you, I conduct a workshop where I teach the basics of blogging. So if you ever want, you just get in touch with me. We'll talk about that. But I'll give you a very simple thing. Just go to WordPress.com. I recommend WordPress because once you have a paid website, you own the domain name, right? And once you own the name, you can start earning money from it. If you just want a free website, you can also start with WordPress. They have a free plan as well. Or you can go to blogger.com, which is the Google owned one, which is a free platform. But then you will not earn money through that. That's just for self-expression. Just go to either Blogger or WordPress, choose a plan, either free or paid, and start. And just choose even any shitty theme to begin with. The first step is the hardest to take. You just have to get started. Write a post on anything, any topic. Put one random picture, write at least minimum 300 words, and put it out there and see what people are saying. If they enjoy reading it, then definitely you're on the right path. And trust me, with practice, you will get better and better and better. Just the question is to start. Don't wait.
That's an amazing tip from you.
Thank you.
I guess, Neha, you have got your answer.
Otherwise, you can always contact me, like I said, and I'll give you a more detail.
Yeah, sure. From now onwards, any query, and we will be getting in touch with you.
Perfect.
And these questions are coming maybe because we are into content writing, and every day we are asked to come with something creative, something unique. So we need a lot of support.
I know it gets
So
very.
According to how should we manage time? Like when we are assigned certain tasks and blogs and other things as well. So how should we manage time?
So I'm not the best person at time management, but I'll tell you what I do. I'm a diligent user of my calendar app on my phone. I literally schedule.
Okay.
So from this hour to this hour, I've assigned for a blog post. For this hour to this hour is my son's lesson. This hour to this hour is for answering emails. This hour to this hour is doing Instagram replies. So you've just got to chalk out timings for yourself. And like I said, be strict about it. Once you can even give yourself deadlines. If there are not work related, say, okay, I have 5 articles to write this week. I will make sure that I've written 3 of them by Tuesday, so that I have less pressure on me in the second half of the week, So just set mental goals for yourself. Also, please give yourself breaks, because that's something all of us content creators don't do. And very bad for our mental health. So try to just work in fixed hours of the day. I know it's not always possible, but try. So I tell myself that I will try to finish everything between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Obviously with lots of breaks in the middle, because my son is there. I have to run around after him, feed him. But other than that, I don't want to work after 8 and I don't want to work before 10. And even just something as simple as that will help you. I personally think. So just, it is possible. You've just got to work at it.
Yeah. So prioritizing is the key for time management. According to you, how much do we rely on social media, like Instagram and Facebook, for content things?
A lot, unfortunately. We do rely on it a lot, because at least now that I've changed my focus, I'm creating a lot more visual content than I was earlier. So Instagram has become like my first platform, and the blog has in fact even become my And even though it's not like I'm a huge person on Instagram, I don't have a huge following, but my focus is all there. And that's why it takes up a lot more of my time and energy. You do have to have a social media presence. You cannot take it for granted, unless you have already established in the blogging field. Like there are some people who have been blogging for 9-10 years and they are very successful bloggers. They don't need to rely on social media. But people like who have sort of mid-level or even, below mid-level, we are still very reliant on social media. So you've got to be mindful of using it correctly, but don't get addicted to it, or don't let it define your success, because there are other factors as well. You've got to work on your SEO, which is your search engine optimization. You've got to work on other things, like maybe plug into affiliate marketing. So just when things are working, more things are working, then you can start relying less on social media. But if you're just starting out, social media is the way to start, because everybody's on there. You'll get your largest audience there.
So you have many followers and many posts on Instagram. So what will happen if you wake up one day and there is no Instagram, like TikTok?
That's okay. We'll move on. There'll be a new one. See, TikTok has come.
Okay.
So I actually, very honestly, that's why I say the blog is important, because I know that platforms like Instagram, even perhaps Facebook, may not last for a long time. We've seen lots of other platforms in the past have just died a silent death, like Orkut and whatnot, and now TikTok is the latest one. Blogs cannot go, because like I said, people need to search for things, right? So as long as people are going to Google to search for any answer, blogs will be around, because Google has to give them answers in the form of articles. And articles, like many of them are blogs. And so I know that that is a much longer lasting platform, and that's why I don't let go of it.
Yeah.
Even though, my focus is shifting to Instagram right now, I can't let go of it, and I still write articles at least once a week because I know I need to have that as my backup. But I also don't think that, my life is dependent on Instagram. If it's gone, it's gone, whatever. It's okay.
Yeah.
You find a new place and something new to create.
So Hindi writing or English writing?
English. I don't.
According to you.
I've just about started making videos in Hindi because I understand they're more popular. But I'm very bad at it. And I can't write Hindi at all. It's very difficult for me. I remember in college, I dropped Hindi after 10th. So in college, I had to do a compulsory paper for the first year of Hindi. And I nearly failed that exam because I couldn't finish writing. I was so slow, I'm not used to writing in Hindi. I mean, obviously, physically handwriting, but my Hindi is not great, unfortunately. But if you are good at Hindi, then Hindi writing is the way to go right now, because regional language content creation is really popular right now. Much more popular than English. That's a piece of advice I can offer, whether it's Punjabi, any South Indian language, Marathi, anything. Just go for it if you're good at it, because you will excel, you will grow much faster than if English is your language.
But we should be knowing the Paryayavasi and all those things.
No, you don't have to be that good also. Just basics, but you should be able to convey the message properly. That's all.
Yeah.
It should be like a English.
But the prevalence of English writers has, I think, left us forgot the matra and all that.
That's true.
Yeah. So, what other tips or tricks you have for our writers or the future writers?
Okay, what tips or tricks? I'd say be mindful of the quality of your content. Try to find your own unique voice. Like I said, it's always possible to find a unique topic. You may be writing on a topic that many people have written on, but you can present it in a unique manner that is singular to you. And so look for something like that. Once you find your unique voice, you will also find a unique crowd to follow you. And that's essentially what we're doing. Right now, there is so much content being created. It is so saturated space. The only way to stand out is to be aware of this and to find something that is unique to you. What is your USP? And the second thing is stay consistent. Don't get disheartened and leave. If you have found momentum, you have started, don't feel like, oh, I'm not getting followers. What's the point of this, and stop? Because it takes time. With anything good in life, it will take time. I didn't reach that position in one day. It took me 3 years to get to that point. And even now, I feel like there's a long way to go. So yes, be consistent and find your unique voice. These are my 2 biggest pieces of advice.
Thank you, Noor. Thank you so much for all these important tips and tricks. It was a pleasure having you here with us.
Thank you.
And
I hope
we will surely get in touch with you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
So, thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too.
And keep blogging.
Yes, thank you. And you keep
creating. Thank you so much.
More live sessions in the coming
days. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.